I'm skipping over the fact that it's only 3 fingers on his hand and 3 feet, three toes. So I'm like, wait a minute, boom.
The following is my conversation with Jermel Howard. Jermel is an actor, author, and writer from Long Island, New York. He's acted in numerous TV shows and films, including things like Law and Order, NYC 22, which was produced by Robert De Niro, Golden Boy, Major Crimes, Person of Interest, American Gangster, Denzel Washington, Russell Crowe, Orange is the New Black, and he played Dante, Marvel's Luke Cage, and Power, one of my absolute favourites with Omari Hardwick and 50 Cent. And I happen to know for a fact that he is interested in UFOs, UAPs, and he's kindly offered to give me some of his time today. So the following is my conversation with Jermel Howard. How you doing?
Good, man. How's everything?
Very, very good, very good. Thanks for giving me some of your time. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate you having me, man. I've been running around like crazy all morning.
Okay, I just wanted to jump in. Let's jump straight in, if that's okay. Let's just jump straight in. What first piqued your interest? What first got you into UFOs or UAP? What was it that sparked that bit of interest in you?
So a long time ago, I've watched an interview with a man named Bob Lazar, and ever since I watched his interview and I dug into his story, it opened up my mind a little bit. So I wanted to dig further, and I started doing research and watching movies, a few films that were based on true stories, and it just blew my mind that people are like it's so dismissive about the subject, So I'm like, why are people scared to touch the subject if there are pretty solid accounts of some events that go on, with whether it being somebody, talking about extraterrestrials or talking about UAPs or I'm old school UFOs, why it's such a, taboo to talk about. But the guy Bob Lazar, he just was amazing. He's an amazing scientist because that's for one, I'm so deeply into science, and to see another scientist with the passion he has that just wants to get the information out, and that's when you know it's a true scientist by the heart, because you can see the passion, and he's not here to lie. He's not saying, "Oh, I've seen 1,000 aliens and this and that." He's like, "No, I've never seen an alien, but I was sanctioned to work in this specific section, and this is what I've seen." And as a astrophysicist, he's challenging you to prove me wrong. Prove me wrong that, I'm telling you what I've seen, and I'm telling you the elements that was in and breaking down. Prove me wrong. And he's a scientist, and he still teaches, in the colleges today. So that's the first thing that like took my mind out of this stratosphere. I'm like, there's something else going on. Seriously.
Yeah.
So.
I'm with you there. Very, very similar. I saw several documentaries about him, and I think the Element 115 that he
Yes.
miraculously knew about, and all of a sudden this thing came out. I mean, that, and he didn't work there. We don't know who he is, but he just happens to be in our manual of contacts with his name.
Yep. It's like, come on now. Now he didn't work there. Now we can find all the records, and now we got the Element 115 order. Just mysteriously now everybody knows about it, and it's a thing. Seriously, like, come on. He said that a long time ago, and he was discredited, and then he told you how he was transported. Nobody believed that, but now everybody, it's just amazing how dismissive. And I can go back even further, man. Like, I did some research on, there's a group of people called the Dogons, and in Africa, and they have a ritual they do, a dance, and they've been doing it for hundreds of years, and just been passed down, and they do this dance. It's basically in synchronicity with Sirius B, And they got it from beings that they said that told them that they were from Sirius B, the star constellation, the star system over there.
Right.
And it's like, how would they know that? Thousands of years ago, how would they know anything about Sirius B? For one, you can't see it. You can't just look in the sky and say, "Oh, that's Sirius B." So it's impossible for somebody, a group of people that far back to even know anything about that, and then know the cycles of it. They mapped even the cycles of what happens over the course of how many times it takes to go around the binary stars and how many times they swing around each other and all of this stuff that they know about it. It's just impossible to know. It's impossible to know. Nobody today can look up and say, "Oh, Sirius B," and it's going around. It's a binary star system, and it's going like you can't do that today. So for thousands of years ago, I think that there's some truth there, and people skip over things like that. But it's solid information, and it's been there, and it's not going nowhere. And now I think we're just getting it's a lot coming out because we have full access to a lot more information and a lot more files, and things are now coming out. But this is nothing new.
I want to come on to what you think it is, or what you think it represents in a minute. But just before I jump in that, before I kind of speak to people, I always do a ton of research. Now, it's easy to research you because you've been on several things that I've seen and watched on my TV screens. And just FYI, Power, amazing, love it. One of my absolute favorites, favorites. I was like, this is the guy. I was trying to explain to my partner, I'm going to be talking with. Anyway, what's it like in your industry? Do people talk about this stuff in your industry?
Yeah. Actually, this industry is where a lot of the creative minds are. The writers and creators. So this is a open topic. And it's not nobody's shy to talk about it. Because we creating content. This is you get your artists that people that draw storyboards and story. They already have comic books and this and that they wrote that opens people's minds up. So they have all of these theories already tied into content. So it's nothing weird about it, or nobody acts any different about it. The conversations are pretty open, and a lot of people that are in the industry believe that there's something else out there for sure.
Okay, so let's come on to it. What do you think? What do you think that these UAP are? What do they represent?
My guess and my opinion is that I think that there is something maybe distant from here. There is a group of there's a civilization that just like we are, and it's and to put it into make it chewable for people that just don't think there's nothing going on nowhere. um we send probes out to space. Okay, so there's a probe flying past. It is already way past our Kuiper belt, our what they call the Oort cloud. It's way past that now. It's been gone for a long time. Carl Sagan, a scientist from a while back, he's pioneered the project of sending out these messages that have all of our information on it, and a record vinyl of music, and all of these things are in it. And now it's so far past our solar system, past all this stuff. And you got to think, if somebody or something was living past there and they see this thing that we sent flying past their atmosphere, and they would be like, what do y'all think it is? Do y'all think it's the government over here just playing games? So when you reverse that, it's like it's not crazy. It's not like out of this, it could never happen or this or that. We're doing it to some to other things in space right now. It's flying through. So I do believe that it's some civilization that is connected with us, and they are probing us, like meaning not probing like when somebody, the other meaning of I mean like sending drones, and they trying to find out what's going on here. Now, I do believe that we've been in contact with them several times, but I don't know if that is one species of the thing, or is it just several different species, because from the Sumerians talking about the Anunnaki that they were in touch with, and all the proof that they had that they were in touch with beings, and this was 10,000 years ago. And then you got the Dogons talking about these beings, taught them about Series B and binary star system. So these are all true events. So I think that, is it the same? Maybe, maybe not. That's the part that I have no idea. But I do think that it's an advanced civilization that is just checked. I don't think that they're in these ships. I think that they're more drones, and they just like we have drones and we send in these drones all over the place. I do think that they're drones, unmanned pilots, and they just flying just to get information, scanning, surveying. Okay, but I do believe there's going to be a point in time where they are going to connect. But being an advanced civilization, it's like I'm in no rush. Yeah, y'all are nowhere near where we are yet. So, but I'm watching. That's what I think the thing is. So yeah, I believe that they are drones from another civilization.
Yeah. Do you think that it's going to come out? Do you think what's happening in Congress and mostly in the States seems to be spearheading it? Do you think that it's going to come out? Is it a push? Because the way I see it, it feels as if we get a little bit, and it looks like we're going to get some kind of disclosure, and then they pull back and sort of, actually, no, we don't. It's nothing. It's something we don't really understand, but it could be nothing. You get conflicting information from NASA, for example, that you do from Arrow, and Arrow are saying, well, yeah, okay, we've got some UAP, but actually we're not. We're not suggesting that it's extraterrestrial. It's kind of backwards and forwards with whether or not we're going to get some kind of disclosure. I'm looking every single day to see what the news is, and it just seems to be, yeah, we're getting something, and then the next day it's, no, we're not getting anything. This is, you're all crazy. So where do you think it's going? What do you think comes next?
Well, they had a hearing with the it was a Navy, I believe, top ranking official, and
David Fravor and Ryan
yeah.
Graves. Yeah.
In one statement, he said, they asked, could you had shot it down? And he said the thing can go from where we were in the sky, 30,000 feet, to out into space and back, and then take off and go left. He said, absolutely not. We wouldn't be able to. So he said, then this is a serious threat to the world. And he said, yeah. So with that being said, there's nothing else they can say to prove anything. That, like, that's your guys, that's your eyes of the planet right there. These are your guys that's in the sky. These are your guys that's, head of intelligence. It's a reason why they named it intelligence. Okay, so if we put in them in front of intelligence, then these are the guys that's going to have the correct information. So if they're sitting there telling you this is nothing we ever going to see on this planet, and that, nothing we've seen and nothing that we could create, then I don't think that there's anything else to prove. I don't think there's nothing else Congress can say to disprove or prove it. That's it. And then now you have this new evidence. You've seen the stuff that happened in Mexico.
Fascinating.
That's super fascinated by this. I'm looking at it, and I'm like, I'm going through all my own things. Like, it's a baby fetus, or I'm playing advocate. And I'm like, no, it's not a baby fetus, because it's not a fetus because it would be hunched over a little bit. It's like straight up, and then it's fully grown, so it's not like a baby animal or something. This is like a full grown thing. And first it was like, everybody said it was pieces of animal and human together, and they did it. And when they did the scan, this is all one skeleton thing. And while I'm doing all of this research and looking at it and doing this, I'm skipping over the fact that it's only 3 fingers on his hand and 3 feet, 3 toes. So I'm like, wait a minute. boom, so it's got 3 fingers and 3 toes. And I'm like, what can I compare that with? I can't compare that with anything, that looks like that, has 3 fingers, 3 toes, humanoid in form. You would be looking at a baby monkey, and that's 5 fingers. That, like, it has all its digits like we have. So um, I think that now that these things are coming out, man, it's going to be a lot more things. They said that thing dates back 1,000 years. So 1,000 years ago, this would be where the doggons and all of them saying, yeah, these things taught us about, So I just think it's very interesting that these things are coming, but a lot more is coming, because you got to remember, people were burying information, on purpose, so those things are going to start to come out as well, now that it's an open floor, and nobody feels like they're going to get, ridiculed about saying anything.
Yeah.
So it's going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. What are you just to change the subject slightly, what are you working on at the moment? Can you talk about anything that you're doing at the moment?
Yes, I'm actually working on something extraterrestrial.
Are you?
So yeah, so I got a film that a TV series that I'm working on, that I created and wrote myself. It's called Demisi, and it's actually about an alien civilization that's trying to take over Earth, and they send one leader sends his son to do it, and his son starts to like Earth and is like, you know what, I want to keep Earth for myself. And the father is noticed that he's not falling into his order, and he sends aliens to kill him, like assassin aliens, and then he has to decide whether to protect Earth or still run around and do all the evil stuff he started to do. And now he's playing, I gotta protect Earth from my father, and he ends up being a good guy, a good alien, at that. So it's called the Misi. Real fun and serious show. A lot of action, fighting, stuff like that. So that's next in the pipeline that I'm working on, that I created. I also wrote a comedy that's on BET out here. It's on BET Plus. It's called I Got Problemz, and basically it's about a scientist. A lot of my stuff is tied in science when I write it anyway. I like it
Right.
tied in science or stuff that I like, but it's about a scientist who he's supposed to go to like NASA. He just graduated from school, and he's he's stuck in the hood though, in bad area. And one of his friends, who was a bad guy, told him, take a ride with me, and the guy ended up killing somebody. So he's never seen nothing like that. He was just like super science nerd in school, and he's never been around the bad guys. And so the guy kills somebody, and he takes off running. And the guy that killed somebody, he has a brother that's a cop, and he says, listen, the cops are getting close to figuring out it's you that did that. So you need to pin it on somebody. And he said, well, let's pin it on Q, the scientist, right? So now he has the hood and the cops looking for him over the course of a weekend, and he's trying to clear his name. So that's called I Got Problemz, and that's on BET Plus right now, and Tubi, by the way. Yeah. Not to
Excellent.
mention, all the other stuff people know is Purge and
Yeah.
Power. Like you said, I'm actually going to be I'm going to meet with 50 today. He has a show tonight at in Jersey. So we'll be in Jersey tonight, and actually I'll be talking to him about that too, about
Brilliant.
that, the alien
Does he
shows as well.
does 50 have any opinions on the UAP subject? You ever talk to him about it?
No, but you know who I did talk to? I talked to Will Smith, um, and Will has an interesting take, not specifically about UAPs, but just about other dimensional life forms, and he said it's one interesting take. He said he thinks that maybe this is a different ideal. If every planet we see, we think it's empty, but just like we only see 1% of all color, in our universe, we only could see 1% of all color. So a lot looks invisible to us. So maybe on every planet there's something there, but it's not in our spectrum to see it. So they could be energy, it could be people, it could be different things, life forces there that is just out of our dimensional view. Which makes a lot of sense as well, because this would be an awfully lot of empty space and planet for nothing. So you would think that maybe that's true too. Other dimensions, interdimensional beings is what some people call another life force. I do believe in interdimensional beings, and spirituality. They might say ghost, or demon or angel or something, and that might be interdimensional beings in another, in another way to look at it anyway. But yeah, that was an interesting take. I thought that was very interesting.
Absolutely. All right. Well, look, thanks very much. I've taken enough of your time as it is. I really appreciate your time, and great talking to you.
Likewise, man. Thank you for having me.